Gov. 1-800-845-8476.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. Shop our Bahan Trunk Show this Thursday, September 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is your opportunity to shop an expanded collection plus many retired pieces at substantial savings. Save 20% on all current styles and 40% off retired styles. If you wear Bahan, come in and add to your collection. And if you don't, then come on in and see why it's a wish list favorite. Bahan is exclusively at Mitchell's Jewelry. We're in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
It's time. All we want to think about is football and basketball season, but it's also insurance season. November 1st to December 15th is open and...
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. The competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner Magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the K-Ref app to listen from anywhere.
Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz,
Jerry Reed,
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
and I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone,
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
but treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
When students struggle because they are hungry
or fall behind because they lack school supplies,
a caring adult can make all the difference.
Especially someone from the community.
Someone who knows the students
and the obstacles they might be facing.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support
to ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning.
We go all in for kids, all day, every day.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
Every day, we rise, challenging ourselves to work for what we believe in. At U.S. Border Patrol, protecting our borders is more than a job. It's a calling. Agents answer the call, working together to keep our country and communities safe. If you are ready for a new mission, join U.S. Border Patrol and go beyond. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers/Border Patrol.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Yeah, we'll get into recruiting today. There's a few interesting tidbits out there as it relates to OU recruiting. But this could be a terrible idea, by the way. I almost want to use this hour as an OU offense suggestion box today. Oh, boy. We all know it's not going well. We can all see that. We've been talking about that for like 4 days now. What's everyone's best suggestion? What's your number one suggestion? Who do you want to see more? What do you want to see more of? Like, what do they need to do to get this thing back on track? Because it's got to get back on track. And it's got to get back on track in a hurry. Let us know. 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And the responses are already going on the YouTube live channel. KREF Sports, the comments are already rolling in there. Which I will say, a little bit of a promotion for us. You know how I've been showing the official game ball that we have here in studio from Big Game USA?
Certainly.
We're going to be giving away this here football right here. You can't see it if you're
Can
just
I have
listening
it?
on the app. We'll be giving it away tomorrow to YouTube Live viewers. So if you want to win this football tomorrow,
I'm going to have to hop on my burner.
your only opportunity tomorrow is to subscribe to our YouTube page, KREF Sports, and interact with us there. Just a little bit of a tease there. All right, let's get to it before we get to the text, because we'll be now that I've thrown that out, we'll be text and comments heavy throughout the rest of the show. What is your number one suggestion offensively to get this thing going, other than block someone up front?
Yeah, your suggestion can't just be play better. We all know that needs to happen.
I mean, it's just kind of, and we'll get to we'll get to everything. But when you're not blocking well, when you're not run blocking well, when your quarterback's not playing well, when he's playing a little timid, your wide receivers aren't getting enough separation. It just goes back to it's not one thing, it's everything right now. So I know that we'll get to some things that they've got to do better. But just to point to one thing overall that's going to fix this offense, I don't think it is one overall thing that's going to fix this offense. We'll have suggestions, but what it comes down to, Parker Thune, is pretty simply, like, this offense has to find a rhythm, it has to find an identity, and it has to find some flow to it. And a lot of guys are going to have to start playing a lot better football, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, you just got to learn how to play to your strengths. Once this offense is effectively playing to its strengths, then I think things are going to open up a little bit. We'll see them put up a lot more points than they were able to last week against Houston, even more points than they were able to of their own volition in Week 1 against Temple. But I don't really know what those strengths are right now. I don't know how you could know with how injured they have been, how beat up they have been. You got to have a sense of which personnel you're going to be relying on. That's another thing before you start to get a sense of where your strengths lie.
I have a suggestion here as to a way to get things going, because I think for the rest of the offense to go, the run game is going to have to start going. Can we all agree with that the most important ingredient moving forward is finding some sort of a consistent run game to be able to move the ball on the ground and not have a bunch of 37-second-yard drives, which is not great for your defense? Let's see more Taylor Tatum.
I love it. And like if we're going to boil it down to the bare bones, if we're going to keep this as simple as possible, I think more Taylor Tatum in this offense would be a shot in the arm.
You need more big plays. And I think Javonte Barnes could be a guy that gets you some really tough yardage. And I do think that he's capable of hitting on a big play as well. But you need big plays right now. You need big plays to stretch a defense. And to me, I feel like your best chance at hitting on a big play with the running back could be the true freshman, Taylor Tatum. I know it's only been a couple of games, but Gavin Sawchuk just hasn't shown you much up to this point, unfortunately. Barnes looked good last week in some spots, but Tatum showed you something in game one. Like, let's see more of that. Let's see what you really got out of the true freshman, because I won't be surprised if he is your big playback at some point this year.
And Will Fish on the text line says, so you're saying this is the Couch Coaches show?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Weigh in all afternoon. Zach from Guthrie in the middle of all of this asked, did anyone get an update from Booby Feaster, or did he dip so fast after the game we just forgot he was there?
He left at halftime.
And my thought was, I thought about reaching out to Booby to check in with him following the OU game. I was like, does anybody actually want to hear what Booby had to say about that game?
Nah, Booby, you ever going to come back again? Are you ever going to come back within 40 miles of Norman, Oklahoma? Is that ever going to happen?
I guess he could be like, yeah, I actually committed and I'm enrolling tomorrow.
That would be, hey, there's a way to fix the offense. I know he's a 2027 recruit, but you insert Booby Feaster in the lineup and it could be more production than what you've had so far. Yes, 580, Steve. I will give you a come on offense. Maybe that's what we need more in the stands on Saturday to get everything going.
Gunny said, I like the suggestion of having the opposition run through Gunny smoke. Then the offense might be better.
We thought about that yesterday, letting Gunny have let him kind of go with the game, not the game management, but the the whole pomp and circumstance of things before, and OU runs out of the tunnel smoke. OU runs out of the tunnel with smoke, and it's Gunny's smoke right there. 918 on offense, just play for moving the chains, not going for the home run so often. Are they going for the home run quite a bit right now offensively?
They're going for the home run sporadically. I haven't gotten the sense that they're like trying too hard to make a big play downfield happen. It's just that when they have tried to make it happen, Tyler, Jackson Arnold hasn't delivered precise throws.
From J-Dub, go to an outside zone blocking scheme for the run game. I have no idea if they're going to change the entire run scheme in a week's time for this game or the rest of the game. I don't. That doesn't sound like something that's super easy to do necessarily. Maybe it's more manageable than I think it is. But I'm fascinated, man, because you might have to change some things up schematically on offense. You know, at least I think you have to be prepared for that plan if you start off slow offensively. Like, what changes are made personnel-wise, play calling-wise, scheme-wise, is going to be very fascinating to me on Saturday. Do they just keep trying to do what they've been doing to this point, or do they try to make drastic changes? And, I mean, let's talk about this too. I don't think that he's the only issue. I do think that he can be better, but is there a situation this week, and what would have to happen, where your true freshman quarterback trots out on the field? Is that on the table for this staff going into Saturday?
Jackson Arnold would have to suck this Saturday, and he'd probably have to suck next Saturday too. I mean, okay, if you're down 21-3 going into halftime against Tulane, and Jackson Arnold's completing 40% of his passes and has an interception, then okay, maybe, yeah, at that point maybe it gets bad enough that you decide to make a switch, but. Again, Tyler, I'll go back to this over and over because this is not going to be the last time we have this conversation. I would hope it is, but I know it's not going to be. If at any point this coaching staff makes the decision to switch at the QB position and they decide to hand the reins to Michael Hawkins, there's really no going back from that.
Potentially,
it has to be a very decisive call. It's got to be, all right, this is the new direction. This is what we're committing ourselves to. We're going to hitch our wagon to Michael Hawkins.
It's a big
decision. We're going to see if he can salvage this season.
Yeah, it's a big decision to get there.
The whole salvaging the season conversation is still a ways off. OU's 2-0 right now, Tyler.
Yeah.
They're 2-0.
I heard about that. Yeah, I can confirm that they are 2-0. Here's a great suggestion. Why didn't we think of this? It has worked before for OU, allegedly. From the 918, drink Hennessy before every single game. Did we not hear? Was it this offseason that Hennessy was?
They got to get loose off that Henny.
It has worked before. We may need to try it again.
A 405 listener says Fumblerooski with EPL should be considered.
Oh, I love that idea. Yes, please.
A 405 listener says Jackson Arnold would throw for 5,000 yards in a Mike Leach offense, so that tells you this is a coaching problem. And look, God rest Mike Leach's soul, but yes, Jackson Arnold would have thrown for 5,000 yards in a Mike Leach offense, and Oklahoma would go 7-5. That's kind of how things went for Leach's teams, with very few exceptions.
Chris from Knoxville, wasn't the initial excitement behind Latrell being promoted to OC and Joe John as co-OC was more consistent, solid run game, and hopeful better tight end play? So I guess continue to use the tight ends and figure out something with the ground game. Maybe Teddy's suggestion of using the counterplay more often. Heck, just find a single bread and butter run play. I like the end of that, Chris. Find a single bread and butter run play. And I also like, continue to use the tight ends because offensive players that I trust right now, unfortunately, that list is not very long. But I trust Bauer Sharp in the passing game. I trust Jake Roberts right now in the passing game. The list doesn't get much longer than that. But 2 out of about the 4 or 5 players that I really do trust on offense right now are 2 of your tight ends. Not that I want to necessarily feature Jake Roberts in the offense and try to get him 1,500 yards this year, but do I think that he could continue to be a weapon in the passing game? Use the tight ends more if that's what you feel is one of the better position groups on your offense at this point.
Yeah, Chonky Chuck says our tight end room is better than we thought, and JFA will improve. It's hard to be worse than last week's anomaly. Let's see what else. Nick in Sepulpa says fullback runs.
There we go.
Boy, are you just going to go back to the mid-2000s standard offense where you got 2 tight ends, you got a fullback, like you're running I formation down the field.
You know, OU is an SEC team now, but did they get the memo that what the SEC looks like now? I feel like they're operating at about a 2006 SEC offense level, or may have to here moving forward.
Well, they haven't gone under center yet, but
just wait.
I mean,
they may even huddle or something this
your
week.
Your offensive coordinator is a former fullback, so you got that going for you.
Chonky Chuck, our tight end room is better than we thought, and JFA will improve. It's hard to be worse than last week's anomaly. Well, yeah, they can't be worse than last week's anomaly. They can't have one solid drive the entire game and expect to win this football game on Saturday. Gonna be a tough game against Tulane. They're gonna have to be a lot better offensively, and hopefully they are with some bigger plays in. Okay, let's see what's going on in the YouTube chat here. 2-back set, says J.K. Stahl. This is all because that little blank baby Gronk showed up on campus. He did show up on campus.
If we want to pin this on baby Gronk, I am all the way down for that. If we want to call this the curse of baby Gronk, I'm with it.
Clemma14, is that the same shirt, Tyler? Yes, for about 9 consecutive shows now. This is the same shirt. I wear it because they asked me to, so you'll be seeing this same shirt for a while now. Van Hoos Fence, vhfence.com.
I forgot to put mine on before the show, but I'm repping the military today. So
Lynn's channel, have the band stop playing while Jackson Arnold is trying to listen to the coach. They were blasting their notes every time he was trying to hear. Hey, I think we've reached everything now. We blame the in-game entertainment. We blame the OC, the quarterback, the wide receivers, the offensive line. Now even the pride of Oklahoma, is getting it right now for the offensive performance.
The pride is catching strays?
That's what it said. Have the band stop playing while Jackson Arnold is trying to listen to the coach.
Unbelievable.
It did look like the whole headset thing was not working out well for him on Saturday.
No, it did not. A 501 listener out in Arkansas says, let's blame it on retro uniforms.
Yeah,
no,
sure.
No, baby Gronk is still the scapegoat.
Those retro uniforms are sweet. Throwback uniforms
are awesome,
are sweet.
Man. I hope they do those one game every year.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in the plans or not, but I'm with you. If they want to make that a part of the plans or just some sort of a throwback every single year, I would be down for that. We got so many here, so I'm just going to roll through a bunch of them. I want to see more 22 personnel, says a texter from the 405. Sam and Edmond says, I'll start by saying this. I'm not an OC, but I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express recently. Maybe they should simplify this offense for both Jackson Arnold and the offensive line, meaning take the decision of the RPO out until they can process quicker. Call the straight run, pass, or play action so Arnold and the line both know exactly what they're doing on every snap. A lot of people just want to take the RPO out just altogether. Like, screw this RPO. Let's just run the freaking ball, and the offense knows that we're running the ball, or we're just going to pass the ball. No run-pass option here. Let's just run it or throw it. Let's make it simple here. And again, like I said, I don't know if they'll go that far, but do I think that we'll see some changes with the offense? I think that we'll see some tinkering with the offense this week.
There's some very strong opinions about the RPO as a concept. There are many people that love it. There are many people that hate it. I've noticed no one is really indifferent about the RPO. No one's like, whatever, RPO. It's just kind of no. Everybody either loves it or they hate it.
Read the text right there at the top. As soon as you were saying
RPO
that.
is trash. Bingo. Blue collar Okie said, "I'll blame it on the RPO offense." And then obnoxious OU guy chimes in to say, "It's Porter Moser's fault."
Hey, we can't do that because Santa John yesterday says, "When does basketball season start?" We got that text yesterday, so it is not Porter Moser's fault. Let's see how our suggestion box is going. Oh, my gosh. We already have 199 texts so far this hour. I thought we'd get a lot of responses. I did.
People gave you opinions.
We might set the text record this hour. Jeez, and there's more rolling in, so we're already over 200 here in the first hour of the show. We'll get to those, as many of those as we can, coming up next and throughout the remainder of the hour. 405-651-3439. What's going on, though, with Andrew Babalola? I don't know what's going on here. Greg Smith has an interesting thought, Rivals national analyst. We'll get into some recruiting, but mostly stay on this OU-Tulane game. Keep it locked on the ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the K-Ref app to listen from anywhere.
Jewelry. Shop our Bahan Trunk Show this Thursday, September 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is your opportunity to shop an expanded collection plus many retired pieces at substantial savings. Save 20% on all current styles and 40% off retired styles. If you wear Bahan, come in and add to your collection. And if you don't, then come on in and see why it's a wish list favorite. Bahan is exclusively at Mitchell's Jewelry. We're in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and it's the perfect time to build your dream home with K&B Homes. Whether you're in the OKC Metro or beyond, they offer flat fee pricing with no hidden surprises. Bring them your game plan or choose one from the K&B playbook. They will bring your dream home to life with custom woodwork and your personal touches. Make the winning call today with K&B Homes. Call them today at 405-808-9005 or visit kbhomesllc.com to kick off your project.
Where are you going to golf this fall? Toby Rowland here for the Trails Golf Club in Norman. When you join the Trails, it gives you the opportunity for you and your family to spend quality time together. From the great golf, pool in the summer, and great holiday events, plus one of the best restaurants in Norman. Join now and play golf on an 18-hole championship golf course. That's perfect for the entire family. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
This is Peggy Doviak, and I opened DM Wealth Management because of a horrible experience that my mother had with a stockbroker. I wanted to give people an alternative, a place they could go to understand their money, to know why investment decisions were made the way they were, and to create a financial plan that would help them meet their goals. Most of all, I wanted to help them plan their prosperity. Call me at 405-329-8884 or dmwealth.com.
Dear hero, whoever you are, you save lives. I live with sickle cell and the pain and the issues that come along with sickle cell every day. I'm most grateful that people are willing to go out there and take their time, their blood, and give me new life. Because of you, I'm allowed to see my son grow up.
Giving equals living. Give blood. Replenish the supply. Learn more at hhs.gov/giveblood. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Get hurt in a game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref for the home of Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, and if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see it. This is One Cool Football. BigGameUSA.com/KREF. It can be yours. BigGameUSA.com/KREF. It's the official game ball that they use in Norman, Oklahoma, and for the Sooners this year. And you can win one tomorrow as well, but only if you're watching live on our YouTube page, KREF Sports. Go subscribe there.
I bet I can throw that thing better than old Jackson Arnold.
But you can maybe block better than this offense. Just let's not stop there, huh? Let's not stop there. I mean, come on. So Andrew Babalola still out there, top 100 player. Honestly, like one of the more highly rated players that's not committed anywhere in the
Correct.
2025 class. For what it's worth, I saw a short video of Greg Smith over at Rivals breaking down what's going on right now. He mentioned OU is one of the top 5 contenders, so he's so far so right there. He says Auburn has surged lately, but if he had to put the 2 main contenders, a top 2 together for Andrew Babalola, he'd say Michigan and Stanford as his 2.
Really?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Still Michigan and Stanford, huh?
Mm-hmm. Didn't really say much about OU other than, they're in the top 5.
I've said for a while I think this battle is coming down to Michigan and Oklahoma down the stretch. And ultimately, if you're not first, you're last. So if the kid ends up committing to Michigan, I guess it doesn't really matter whether it's Oklahoma that finishes second or it's Stanford that finishes second. But I do feel that the Sooners are firmly in play here. They've been pushing very, very hard ever since he left campus on his official visit back in June. They've been trying to get Babalola in the fold, and there's some juice there. I'm not going to try to convince you, because I'm not fully convinced right now, that Oklahoma is the school he ends up picking. That is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, as Steely would say right now. I don't know where he's going to commit to. I don't know when he's going to commit. He seemingly gives everybody a different impression, but what I know in talking to folks on the OU side is they feel that it is them and Michigan. That is the indication that they've been given from Babalola.
Still no decision, though. It's been a little quiet, which, again, that's not bad for OU. Let this thing can continue on. The longer it goes, the better chance OU has. But it is interesting that Michael Fasusi has been committed now to OU for, 3 weeks? Has it been about 3 weeks now? And kind of felt like that was really going to push Babalola potentially to Michigan or somewhere other than OU, right? But it's been about 3 weeks now. And he was supposed to make a decision maybe late in the summer, and he's already played a couple of football games now, and he still hasn't made his decision. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Closer and closer this gets to signing day down the stretch, then maybe more and more realistic OU has. One more recruiting thing, just to say that we did some crootin today.
Yeah, sure.
Are we on the verge of another OU-Nebraska recruiting battle? I know that makes some nervous. We read the text line yesterday. Hunter Higgins, 4-star defensive end out of Wichita, Kansas, 6'5", 245 in the 2026 class, number 1 player in the state of Kansas. Says OU's been right there in the recruitment since the beginning, and now Nebraska is right on top as well after his visit to Lincoln this past weekend. Totally blew him away.
Yeah, look, there are 2 very clear OU-Nebraska battles that are brewing in the 2026 cycle. One of them is the battle for Hunter Higgins. And I still think Oklahoma has the inside track there. But really ever since the beginning, that's been OU-Nebraska. OU-Nebraska. Those are the 2 schools he likes the best. They're both in pretty close proximity to his home in Wichita. And they seemingly check all of his boxes, at least from the conversations that I've had with Hunter Higgins. And that's kind of the consensus, is that it's the Sooners or the Huskers that he'll wind up committing to. Now, the other OU-Nebraska battle that's brewing here is for offensive lineman Deacon Schmidt out of Colorado. He has been to Nebraska 3 times this year. He's been to OU twice. He's due back in Norman for a game day later this season. So it's interesting to me that as Oklahoma makes the transition to the SEC, you're used to OU and Nebraska going head-to-head on the recruiting trail quite a bit in the old Big 12 days. We didn't see as much of it once Nebraska bounced for the Big 10, but now neither of these programs are in the Big 12 anymore, and yet they're going toe-to-toe for more recruits than they have in recent memory.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is totally going to go away, but for kids in the Midwest area, that area of the country, it felt like we've recently seen way more OU-Oregon battles. And again, I still think that you might see that moving forward, OU-Oregon battles. Oregon is very much a national recruiting approach right now. But OU-Nebraska kind of recruiting battles in that area, I think that you're right, man. I think that we're about to see a lot more of that, especially if Nebraska continues its kind of climb forward here. This is good from Cherokee Sooner. Why would Bubble Cola want to go to a Pacific team that identifies as an Atlantic team when he could come to an offensive team that identifies as a defensive team. Well done. Well done, Cherokee Sooner. That was really good on all fronts right there.
Oh, man. Angry Ronnie asked, Cortez get the boot? I mean, they haven't given him the boot, but I've been saying all week, I'll continue to say, I don't expect Cortez Mills to wind up in this class on signing day. I don't know how you can have that expectation. Tyler, every single player that has ever tested the visit policy has ended up committing to another school.
Yep.
Every single player, without exception. No player in the Venables era that's committed to Oklahoma has ever taken another visit to another school and then decided to stick it out with the Sooners. You can draw your own conclusions there.
Yeah, and again, if he told the staff, and it sounds like he told the staff he wasn't taking that Nebraska visit, and he ended up taking the Nebraska visit, then based on the evidence that we have, which is a pretty decent sample size, I think that we can probably guess what's going to happen here. So whether an edit is dropped this week or not, I tend to lean to your side there that we don't see Cortez Mills as a member of this class on signing day. Okay. Chonky Chuck says, let's run the quadruple option with Michael Hawkins, Taylor Tatum, EPL, and Zion Reagans. That is an interesting guy, though. The quadruple option is a hell of an idea there, Chonky Chuck. But you did mention Zion Reagans, and he got some run last week. He had a pretty big drop, if I remember correctly. But he's got speed, and you're looking for playmakers right now. You're looking for guys that can make big plays. Brennan Thompson is that guy, but he just hasn't hit on a ton of big plays yet. You're beat up at wide receiver. I'll be interested in a guy like Reagans this week if he gets more opportunities.
Well, and he got a lot of opportunities last week. Like, here's the thing. Zion Reagans is the type of guy that you would like to be using 10 snaps a game right now. You would like to be using him the way that you used Brennan Thompson last season. Zion Reagans played almost 40 snaps in his second collegiate game. The kid's listed at 5'8", 150, Tyler. You don't want Zion Reagans playing 40 snaps a game.
Sure.
That's not a rhythm you want to establish, and it's not because he's not talented.
And he shouldn't have to, by the way.
But that's an indictment on the situation at receiver. We all understand how banged up they are, but you're exactly right. Like he shouldn't have to be playing that many snaps, but he does right now.
404 State of Georgia, we will never truly be great again on offense with a true fullback / H-back. Book it. That is Oklahoma football. I think that texture meant they won't be a great offense again without a true fullback / H-back. Look, I don't disagree with you. I've seen so many OU offenses in my lifetime with a great fullback or an H-back, and how much that's really mattered to an OU offense.
Yeah.
I remember you having an H-back when you were struggling to get things going offensively early on at Ohio State. You hit on some big plays with an H-back in that game, right? So it's another weapon that they've had. It's a mismatch that you can exploit in games. I would love OU to get back to a world where there may be a more physical run team, and they have that with a true fullback or an H-back or just some player that can serve those roles. I mean, heck, who's the last one that you've had? Braden Willis, I guess, correct?
Yeah.
And even though 2022 was an awful season, Braden Willis was one of your few bright spots that you had on the offensive side. Yeah.
He was fantastic that year.
And you can find a player to serve that. It's not like, you can't find anyone out in recruiting to serve that role as an H-back. Like, I believe that you can find those types of guys. And some would even tell us that, hey, you already have a guy like that on your roster in Xavier Robinson. Just make him into a fullback or H-back. I like the versatility that position provides, but does it feel like this year we're going to see that? No, it doesn't feel like this year we're going to see that. But I'd like to get back to it for sure.
Stillwater Sooner says, the head coaches at Tennessee, Mississippi State, Tulsa, and USC are all great offensive minds. Could we hire one of them to run our offense?
Very familiar with all those guys, huh?
Kyle in Broken Bow asking the real question. He says, what blows my mind is that a 20-ounce bottle of name-brand Cherry Coke has 260 calories, while the Casey's version has 310 calories. As the great Chris Plank would say, what are we doing? Well, I mean, if you want to give people a reason to prefer the store brand over the name brand, just pump the thing full of more sugar.
But you know what? Isn't that what we're supposed to be worried about today? after 2 games against Temple and Houston. These are the conversations that we're supposed to be having.
Yeah, no joke.
We were supposed to be like, football team, offense looks good, man.
Yeah,
Jackson
they won by
looks
50 a couple times.
Jackson looks comfortable. Offensive line's getting a push. Wide receiver, they're banged up right now, but I tell you, they've had guys really step up at that position. Those are conversations we're supposed to be having today. And that's what concerns me the most is we're having these conversations that we're having. We're doing the suggestion box that gets 200 texts in 20 minutes after 2 of the easiest games that you're going to have this year. Saturday is a big game, and golly, man, they got to find their bread and butter run play. They've got to find a lot this week in practice, and they've got to find a lot coming out of this game on Saturday heading into Tennessee on offense.
The Waffler was clearly using speak-to-text because he said Mikey Henderson was going to be an awesome HVAC.
He was going to be an awesome HVAC until his dumb ass got arrested. Now he's playing wide receiver at Tarleton State. I'll finish the rest of that.
Oh, man. Wait, there was another one I wanted to get to. Oh, yeah, here you go. Dean Choctaw says, remember when Parker was telling us how much better Stogner was going to be than Willis, even though he hadn't showed anything in 3 years? That was funny.
Dang.
Yeah, listen, Dean Choctaw, that was my opinion. I made it very clear that was my opinion every single time I said something along those lines. And listen, I will freely acknowledge that I swung and missed on that one. That was an incorrect opinion. So there you go. Willing to eat my words, willing to own up to a bad take. I'll take the L on that one.
I also thought OU was going to rush for over 225 against Houston last week. What was a worse take? Yours on Stogner
neck
or
and neck.
me thinking that OU is going to rush for over 225 against Houston? I just thought that after a week 1 where they could have been better, they'd come back. There'd be some urgency. They'd push Houston around a little bit after getting beat by 20 by UNLV. Did not happen, unfortunately. We do have a couple of OU-Tulane predictions out there on the national level.
What's that?
Chris Hummer being one of those from 24/7 Sports. He's got OU in a nail-biter. 31-27 to win this game. 31-27 to win this game. The other pick is OU 34, Tulane 24. Everyone is on Tulane plus the 14 right now.
I know. Nobody is taking OU to win and cover. I might make that my lock of the week. Because, I forget who I was having this conversation a while back with, but somebody told me, somebody who is experienced in the gambling industry told me, when 80% of the money is on one team, you take the other team.
That normally is a good I've been told the same thing as well, but you've been told the number 80%, right?
Yes, 80%.
The number is currently 96% on Tulane, according to scoresandodds.com. Yeah.
All right. So, yes, OU, lock of the week. There we go. I'm officially changing my pick in the Refro Rumble.
I think about
locking OU minus 13.5.
96% of the money is on Tulane, but I think the majority of the money that's on Tulane is OU fans, more than likely when they saw that line get dropped.
Now, I mentioned earlier in the segment that no player that has ever taken a visit to Oklahoma, or I'm sorry, to another school in the Venables era while being committed to Oklahoma has wound up sticking with the Sooners. Slim Brady asked a good question. Zion Kearney visited A&M after he committed, right? Yes and no, Slim Brady. That was not what the OU staff would have considered a visit because Zion Kearney just attended the game in College Station. It was not a visit. He did not interact with the coaching staff at all. He just attended the game. So, by the letter of the law, Zion Kearney stayed within the parameters that OU gave him.
Real quick before we hit a break, let me get to a subject that makes us all smile. Sooner softball. OU
boy.
Softball.
They never give us issues, do they?
Well, they might lose a game against BYU where everyone freaks out, but it's like, guys, just calm down. They're going to win the national championship. Jeez, they just had a bad game here, all right? The SEC schedule for Sooner softball just dropped about 45 minutes ago. OU's first ever SEC series will be at Loves Field against South Carolina. They will go to Arkansas. They will go to Mizzou. The Tennessee Vols come to Loves Field this year for a home series. OU is on the road at Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Mississippi State at home. That dork Mike White in Texas will be a home series. OU's final SEC series will be at Florida in Gainesville the week before the SEC tournament. So OU is home in the SEC, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Texas, on the road at Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, and Florida. Fun SEC schedule. Tennessee and Texas coming to Norman this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Back to the text line, back to OU football next, right here on the Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the K-Ref app to listen from anywhere.
Uncertain about your coverage? At Right Way Insurance, every client receives a dedicated team of experts committed to addressing all your insurance worries. As an independent insurance company, they provide both personal and business coverage. Let them assist you in finding the optimal coverage for your specific needs. Contact Right Way Insurance at 405-607-6014 or at rightwayinsuranceok.com. That's Right Way Insurance, your trusted partner at 405-607-6014.
Rev up your summer with Great Plains Kubota. Purchase a Kubota zero-turn mower by September 16th and automatically be entered into our exclusive Kubota mower giveaway drawing. One lucky customer will have a chance to have their finance mower paid off or cash purchase refunded. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to elevate your mowing experience and potentially win big. Visit us today to explore our range of Kubota zero-turn mowers and enter to win. Offer valid today through September 16th on Z200 and Z400 series mowers for qualified entries.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Does your business need a trusted electrical advisor to help with repairs, maintenance, service changes, or upgrades? Don't just trust anyone. Choose Wade Electric, a family-owned company with over 50 years of experience. Wade Electric has an extensive portfolio of completed projects in new construction, remodels, and service. We specialize in a variety of electrical installations like accent lighting and automation, landscape and security lighting, shop and outbuilding wiring, and more. Call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 for all your electrical needs.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. We are your community. For screening, treatment, and survivorship support, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org.
The Mont invites you to come by and enjoy our high-quality food and drinks in our historic atmosphere. The Mont has won numerous awards, including Best Restaurant in Norman, Best Appetizer for our great queso, Best Exotic Drink for the original swirl, the Best Patio Dining for our beautifully landscaped patio. Come see the Town Tavern OU football scoreboards dating back to 1947. We'll see you at the Mont on the corner of Boyd and Classen, or call us at 329-3330.
Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. bringing you this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated. Established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They sell Buicks and GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. That's Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. If I were to ask you to evaluate what the 2 to 3 toughest games are now for OU, how do you think that would have changed from what you thought before the season?
Well, LSU's not on the list.
Yeah, right? Boy, they were already thin on the interior of the defensive line. They just lost their best interior defensive lineman this past week against Nichols, Jacoby and Guillory.
Yeah.
Well, LSU's in a tough spot right now.
LSU would have been a borderline selection as a top 3 most difficult opponent. My answer would probably be the same as it would have been preseason, which is, and not necessarily in this order, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas. Those 3.
Yeah. Texas would probably. I think Texas is always going to be your toughest game. Most years that's going to be the case. What they look like at Michigan, I got to put them there. At Ole Miss, I always in the offseason I considered putting LSU in the 3, and obviously maybe I did put LSU at 3 because of Tiger Stadium, because of Death Valley. You don't really factor that in for Ole Miss, right? It'll be a good environment in Oxford, but Oxford doesn't get as intimidating as a lot of other SEC road environments do. Not that it's super easy to go in there and win when they're a really good team, but it's more about Ole Miss has a really good offense, and it looks like they have a really good team. They haven't really played anybody this year, but even though they haven't played anybody, Ole Miss has still kind of looked the part throughout the first 2 weeks. Really, the question is Tennessee in the top 3 now? The game is at home, and that matters, but Tennessee looks like a dadgum good football team at this point.
It's early, and so you don't want to, you don't want to be susceptible to knee-jerk reactions. Because, for instance, I remember how we were all talking about Oklahoma after the Nebraska game in 2022, right? Non-conference play can be deceptive in how it portrays a given football team. So I don't want to go over the top on Tennessee yet, but it's undeniable that they do look like a very solid football team with a lot of talent on both sides and a program that is going to present challenges when they show up next week.
Hey, you mentioned some hope for this week, though, mentioning week 3. Because remember how we joked about it last week, and it ended up being right once again? Week 2 in the Brent Venables era hadn't gone all that well. 7-3 at halftime against Kent State, 3-point game late against SMU, and then, hey, week 2 hadn't been great, and then the Houston game last week. Now, week 3's thus far, you've won at Nebraska, and week 3 last year would have been that 60 burger that they put on Tulsa last year, correct? So week 3's have been okay thus far. Let's hope it's like that this year.
All right, so the doors are getting blown off this weekend is what you're telling me.
They're at 60 burger against Tulane. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm switching what's the line on OU-Tulane? Is it minus 13.5?
13.5, yes.
13.5. Okay, I'm switching my pick in the Ref Royal Rumble.
Well, you were with me. We were fading Dion this week. I've got Colorado State +7 in the lock and the upset. I don't think Colorado State's some great team. The exact opposite. I'm just kind of fading Dion and the impending disaster that I think is going to happen up there. But you've officially changed it. There he is, Parker Thune, changing lock to Oklahoma minus 13.5. Boomer in the Ref Royal Rumble text group.
That's what's up. My lock was Utah. So maybe it cost me a point, but it's okay. As long as Colorado State wins, I'm good.
Chris from Knoxville, until I see improvement, everyone besides Maine is our toughest game. Text line taking a week-to-week mentality here. Mark from Edith, each game is the toughest game, Tyler. Sooner fan in Texas, someone should leak a rumor to Mike White that we're moving the Texas series to Devon Park. just to get him all fired up and to say something stupid again. It normally doesn't take much for that guy to say something stupid, huh?
Who would we have to pay off to legitimize that rumor?
Well, his media guy, that's who he threw under the bus when he came after the GOAT a couple of years ago.
That's right, okay.
My own media guy. Got a little upset at him.
All right. Going to have to go into enemy territory, and some money will have to exchange hands, but we can pull it off.
You know who so we opened the suggestion box for the offense today. We're well over 300 texts, which we appreciate all the interaction. Apologies we can't get to all of them. And this has been going on since last year, and it has not stopped. Slammin' Sammy and UConn has now said Kanak at H-back. People want Kanak at H-back. They want him at fullback. They want him at running back. They want Kanak on the offensive side.
He has not played a ton of linebacker through these first couple of weeks.
Nope.
You've seen quite a bit of Kobe McKenzie. You've seen quite a bit of Samuel Masigo. You've seen some Lewis Carter at that linebacker spot. Jaren Kanak just kind of seems stuck in a rut as far as playing time goes. And I don't know, man. This offense does not require an H-back right now. I'm assuming Luttrell's scheme as it's designed to be run does not utilize the H-back. But, I mean, he is a former fullback himself, so maybe he's got some old-school packages in the system. I think Jaren Kanak belongs on defense. I might be intrigued to see what he can offer as an edge rusher, as a pure edge rusher. Not an off-ball linebacker, but an edge guy.
I'm not really interested right now in just throwing a whole bunch of defensive guys on the offense. And that's not going to happen, right? I don't think that they're going to start throwing guys to the opposite side of the ball in the middle of the year, but let's just go ahead and protect the good side of the football that you do have right now.
There's one defensive guy that I wouldn't mind moving to the offensive side.
Who's that?
You want to take a guess?
Jacoby Johnson at wide receiver.
Jacoby Johnson at wide receiver.
Pretty athletic, man. I wouldn't mind throwing an alley-oop to Jacoby Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got size, he's got athleticism, he's got downfield ability. The ball skill, like, you go watch his wide receiver tape in high school. There is a reason why there were many high-end P4 schools that wanted him to play wide receiver. And there's a reason why there was a legitimate conversation before he signed as to which side of the ball he was going to play. Now, I guess he signed in the class of 2023, so it was kind of midway through his recruitment process that the staff turned over at Oklahoma. Before Jay Valai got to town, once the new staff got in place, okay, Jacoby Johnson was a defensive back and was being recruited as such, but there was a little bit of dissension amongst the old staff as to whether, if indeed he committed to Oklahoma, he was going to play receiver or play defensive back. And I've said it before, I liked him better at receiver coming out of high school.
Well, again, I'm not interested in moving really good defensive players over to offense, but I called at least a few games where Robert Spears-Jennings was playing wide receiver for Broken Arrow. And for the majority of his high school career, I'm like, oh, yeah, Robert Spears-Jennings. He wasn't RSJ yet then. He was just Robert Spears-Jennings. I'm like, yeah, he's a wide receiver at Broken Arrow. Nice player.
Yeah, Jeff Lebby tried. Jeff Lebby was he made every effort to get Robert Spears-Jennings to come over to the offensive side and play wide receiver because, and few will recall this, but it did happen, Jeff Lebby was recruiting Robert Spears-Jennings to Ole Miss to play wide receiver before he committed to Oklahoma as a defensive back. If he had not gone to Oklahoma as a defensive back, he was probably going to Ole Miss to play receiver for Jeff Lebby. So Jeff Lebby gets to Oklahoma. Boom, that kid's already committed. He's already signed. Great. Let me see if I can get him in my receiver room. But Brandon Hall did not lose that battle.
This is an interesting text from the 903. Hell, he's one of 5 Sooners with a touchdown. And I'm going to guess that's in reference to Jaren Kanak. Is there 6 players with a touchdown, though? Because Bauer Sharp has a touchdown. Burks has a touchdown. Tatum has a touchdown. Kanak has a touchdown. Brennan Thompson has a touchdown. And Jake Roberts has a touchdown. So 6. I mean, it's still the point. Like, Kanak is one of 6 players that currently has a touchdown on this roster. Yeah, hey, there's the fix. Can they not just run the play more where Lewis Carter punches the ball out on a punt return and Kanak just scoops it up and runs it for a touchdown? Why don't they run that play more? That play worked great in week 1. Just keep running that play. Throw that one back, please. Yeah, come on. Santa John, you will recall that I was the first to put Kanak at H-back. We don't have any receivers who can catch the ball, so I'm calling 22 personnel and run the I formation. I still think Deion Burks can go catch the football for you. I still think Deion Burks is pretty good. And I think that they're going to find some receivers, at least I hope, that can catch the football. And I hope one of those guys wears number 4, and I hope that he's back this week.
22 personnel in 2024 is just not happening in anything other than a short yardage situation. I don't mind 12 personnel these days. Boy, those are words I did not imagine I would be saying 2 weeks into the season. But Bauer Sharp has been solid as a pass catcher. Jake Roberts has just been solid all around. And the text line is noticeably devoid of Joe John Finley slander lately.
I know, huh? How about that? He was getting all the heat in the offseason for recruiting, and then not much Joe John these days.
Shut up, Stillwater Sooner.
I laughed at that one.
He said Lane Jenkins played some wide receiver in high school.
That was good, Stillwater Sooner. That's 2 very good texts today. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. I mean, I guess we got 2 minutes left in the show. Shall we talk about the good that's been going on, or just live in the misery of what's going on? We buying in on the defense? Defense for real, or we still need to see more here in this next couple of weeks? I mean, there's no doubt that it's the better side of the ball. I bought on this defense going into the year, and I'm still there, man.
Yeah, defense looks great, man. Defense looks great, and you know everybody wants to use the term competitive depth as a pejorative this week. Everybody wants to point to the instability on the offensive line and the situation at receiver. I thought we had competitive depth. Competitive depth is really coming through right now on the defensive side of the ball. Grayson Halton, Omasigo, Lewis Carter. Heck, man, Kenai Walker and Des Malone haven't been half bad either at cornerback.
You know what my number one question with the defense is, right? Because I think they're good. I think that we can be, like, there is absolutely a world where we're talking about this defense as one of the better defenses in the SEC. But, Parker, my number one question for the defense actually has nothing to do with the defense. It's can the offense not put them in terrible situations consistently this year? Like, if the offense can help out the defense a little bit, their better side of the ball, and not have so many 3-and-outs and not have so many short drives where they're just punting it back to the opposing offense and putting the defense on the field for 35 minutes a game, yeah, I'm pretty confident the defense can be really good this year. But my question is, can the offense help out that side of the ball? That's my biggest question at this point. Because it's going to be really tough, even for that defense, to have a big-time season if they're always put in the spots that they were put in like last week.
And it kind of feels like the same conversation that we were having in 2022.
Yes.
Because what was that offense's problem? They were going too fast. They were getting off the field too quickly, whether they were scoring or not, and they were disadvantaging a defense that did not have a modicum of the depth that Oklahoma has defensively here in 2024.
Slim Brady, another take I have, might be kind of hot, but Woody is our 4th best corner. That's another thing, too, about competitive depth, man. It's you didn't have – Gentry was extremely limited in week 1. Woody didn't even play in week 1, right? You threw out 2 corners that you didn't think that were going to start before the year, and they've held their own thus far. And you've been good defensively up to this point. But it has to continue, right? Like, are you a believer in the defense? Well, you're going to have to be moving forward because that's going to have to be most games, if not every game, how you win football games here moving forward. So you're going to have to be good on defense. Not really much of a choice at this point.
And you know who we haven't seen through 2 weeks that I'm really, really excited to see?
Eli Bowen?
Hopefully this weekend, Eli Bowen. Yes, sir.
You asked me to guess what player I'm thinking. I was 2 for 2 today, man.
I know. Well done. We're on the same wavelength. I love it.
The Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked on the Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from